Hello, here's an article you might want to read. I'll read some of it to you, but if you want to read the whole thing, you go to this site here. Go right here to read it. It's Obama and the Indonesian murder cult. Let's see. November 30th, Lyndon LaRouche has demanded that no American elected official, policymaker, or citizen be allowed to avoid or deny the overwhelming evidence that President Barack Obama is a mass murderer and an individual who kills for pleasure. LaRouche has also stated that Obama learned how to be a mass murderer from his stepfather of 15 years, Lolo Satoro, an Indonesian national who took part in the mass genocide against supporters of Indonesian President Sukarno between 1965 and 1966 in Indonesia. What is less well known is the role played by the Indonesian-based pseudo-religious cult Sabud, an organization directly involved in carrying out the Indonesian massacres and an organization to which Barack Obama's mother, Ann Dunham, had very deep ties. Although there is no publicly available paper trail proving that Ann Dunham was a member of the mystical cult Sabud, it is known with certainty that she was very closely associated with many of its members, both Indonesians and Western members living in Indonesia at that time. Let's see. Obama's stepfather, Lolo Satoro, a member of the Indonesian military, who was studying at the University of Hawaii at the time, was called back to Indonesia in 1966 by General Suharto. Soon after Suharto's coup against the father of Indonesia's independence, President Sukarno, this was precisely at the moment that General Suharto, hope I'm saying these names right, I don't know, was unleashing mass slaughter against Sukarno's supporters. It is well documented that the coup and, well, here's the who they're talking about, founder. Okay, now I'll read it on. Let me just go back up here. Genocide that followed was orchestrated by the United States, the British, and the Australians, acting through their ambassadors in Jakarta. Satoro, like all members of Suharto's military regime, would have been called upon to participate in the slaughter, which killed somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million Indonesian citizens for the crime of supporting Sukarno and or the Indonesian Communist Party, PKI, of being of Chinese descent, or simply of not supporting the military junta. The massacres in Indonesia were barbaric, some by gun, others by machete, others by other means. While Obama's stepfather was engaged in the military side of this bloodlust, The Subud cult, which his mother became involved in, took part in the civilian mobs that participated in the killing. The founder of Subud, Muhammad Sabu, was by that time deeply connected to British military intelligence, which had helped to spread his cult internationally. Of even greater importance, Subud was one of the leading institutional supporters of Suharto's coup and participated in the slaughter of innocents. Let's see. Baypak, biography of Ann Dunham, Obama Satoro, by the New York Times journalist Janie Scott, reveals that Dunham, while living in Indonesia with her husband Mbarak from 1967, was deeply affiliated with members of, I don't think that goes on, some more information in here. I'm not going to read this whole article, but let's see, there is more on this whole thing. One part I find really concerning is an interview I'll read that right here. Okay, wait a second. Let me just... Okay, Satoro's killer profile. The connection of Ann Dunham Satoro and her husband Lolo to the slaughter of 1965-66 was indirectly revealed in Obama's autobiography, Dreams from My Father, published in 1995. Obama reports that something happened between his mother, and Lolo in the year that they had been apart. The year that Satoro spent in Indonesia during the genocide, before Dunham and Barack joined him in 1967. Satoro had been full of life in Hawaii, wrote Obama, and had told stories of his father and brother fighting and dying in the war for independence from the Dutch after World War II. He had looked forward in returning to Indonesia from the East-West Center at the University of Hawaii to build a new Indonesia. Back in Indonesia, Satoro, didn't talk that way anymore. Obama wrote, "It was as if he had pulled into some dark hidden place out of reach. On some nights, she would hear him up after everyone else had gone to bed, wandering through the house with a bottle of imported whiskey, nursing his secrets. Other nights he would tuck a pistol under his pillow before falling off to sleep." Obama tried to pass this off as due to Satoro's problems with his job. Dunham's biographer, Scott, said. Hang on. Oopsie. Hang on. I need to do this whole thing over again, so I'm just going to continue. He was bothered by the corruption in the military government and the army. The obvious truth is that the nightmares and torment came from his participation in the mass killing. There are many accounts of the fact that military personnel, especially those recalled from foreign studies such as Lolo Soetoro, had to prove their loyalty by participating directly in the mass killings. Obama also provides an insight into his stepfather's psychology as a killer, one which is now so apparent in Obama himself. Obama reports the following in praise by his stepfather and as a major lesson in his life. Here's that little interview. "Have you ever seen a man killed?" I asked him. He glanced down, surprised by my question. "Have you?" I asked again. "Yes," he said. "Was it bloody?" "Yes." I thought for a moment, why was the man killed? "The one you saw." "Because he was weak. That's all?" Lolo shrugged. "That's usually enough. Men take advantage of weakness in other men. They're just like countries in that way. The strong man takes the weak man's land. He makes the weak man work in his fields. If the weak man's woman is pretty, the strong will take her. Which would you rather be?" I didn't answer, and Lolo squinted up at the sky. "Better to be strong," he said finally, rising to his feet. "As if you can't be strong, be clever and make peace with someone who is strong. But always better be strong yourself, always." Obama also reports that Soetoro once told him that a man took on the powers of whatever he ate. One day soon, he promised he would bring home a piece of tiger meat for us to share. Hang on. In 1968, Ann Dunham Soetoro renewed her American passport. On the application form, under the section titled "Amend to exclude, in parentheses, children," she wrote the name Barack Hussein Obama, followed by the name Sobarka? Okay. In parentheses. That name, Sobarka, appears nowhere else in Obama's history. Where did it come from? Let's see. We'll get to this. This passport application came at the time when Ann Dunham was actively involved with Sabood, and it is possible that it is a Sabood name for her son Barack. The source who related to EIR the story of his membership in Sabood in 1971 also explained that members who met BAPAC were often given a Sabood name. The member was asked to suggest 3 names that they would like to have as a Sabood name, and BAPAC would choose the correct one. In keeping with the higher consciousness, Sobarka sounds like a name Ann and Lolo may have chosen for their Sabood son. Another Subud connection emerged in 2011 in Hawaii. One Loretta Fuddy was appointed director of the Hawaii Department of Health in 2011, and it was this same Loretta Fuddy who thereafter released Barack Obama's supposed Hawaii Certificate of Live Birth, a document which was a subject of great controversy and secrecy both before and after its release by Fuddy. Loretta Fuddy was a leading member of Subud, serving as chairman of Subud's USA National Committee from 2006 to 2008. Her Subud name was Daliana. She died in a plane crash in 2013, although all the other passengers in the crash survived. Oh, she survived too. Look it up. Tell the CIA to tell you the truth because she survived. They know about it. All right. Removal of Obama from office. It is now clear to the world, as Lyndon LaRouche has insisted for years, that Barack Obama is a killer, taking great pride in his bombing of several nations into oblivion, nations which posed no threat to the United States, leaving them in the hands of warring terrorist factions and driving their population into frantic and dangerous escape from the terrorists as refugees. Sound familiar? He delights in drawing up his weekly kill list as if he were a feudal king, deciding who shall die this week through drone assassination, with no due process of recourse to protest the death sentence or that of whatever family members and friends happen to be there at the time. He has publicly bragged that if there is one thing he is good at, it is killing people. The stench from the massacres carried out by his stepfather and the Subud friends of his mother lives on today in the mind of their son. It is a psychotic killer mentality. It is time for the Obama's impeachment, or to apply the 25th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution to remove him from office before he carries out his current threat to launch a thermonuclear war on Russia. And there's a little article down here. So anyways, if you want to read the whole thing, which I didn't read the whole thing, but enough of it. It's right here. All right. Go do your research.